I've been on Pawn Stars since day one. Fell in love with the show since day one. Been out there a couple different times, been in the store. Total mark for the show on History Channel. But it's been around for a minute, so you have to do something, right? You gotta branch off, you gotta expand. So now there's a new 8-part series called Pawn Stars Do America, which premiered this past Wednesday on History Channel. And we've got Chumlee on with us right now with his awesome dog. So how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing good. Just, early morning here in Vegas. I woke up this morning to do my interviews and my coffee pot was empty with no beans. So it was a rough morning.
So how does that work with your crew, right? Do they say, all right, Chumlee, you're up to do these radio, because it's the radio podcast tour. You got to deal with this bullshit. You're like, oh shit, I got to spend my whole day talking to these idiots. I would dread it if I were you guys. Same questions, same bullshit all the time.
I don't do it a lot. I actually enjoy it. It gives me a chance to talk with you guys, and you guys have a audience of people who are fans of the show, as you guys may be as well.
Oh yeah.
So I don't mind it. It's not like I have to do it every day. They asked me if I would do it. They didn't tell me I had to. So
yeah.
I'm happy to do this kind of stuff.
It's usually been Rick, and Rick has always been way cool. He seems like I don't know if he's lying or not, but he seems like he actually enjoys the conversation, because I know every time I've talked to him, I geek out for the stuff that's on the show. I am a huge fan. Actually, we did, Nate, remember in Orlando, we did that bit called Junkin' Treasures, and we would have listeners send us stuff in, and then we had this guy that's like very well known in the business of, giving estimates on stuff, and he came in, and we had some really cool stuff, like the German cuckoo clock. It was like $1,200 or something. So I get it.
Yeah, those get out there. Well, I will tell you one thing about Rick. There's nothing he loves more than his own voice. So he loves talking to people.
So with this new show, Pawn Stars Do America, when they first pitched it to you, we were like, shit, I don't want to go anywhere. I like my little home in Vegas. I don't want to go out on the road.
Well, we all wanted to do it. And before it was even pitched, we had been talking about how fun it would be to get out on the road. So actually, I was excited when they told us we were going to do that. It was a lot of work once we started doing it, and a lot of logistics, but super fun, great time, long hours. I was burnt out many days, but I just, spent most of my free time in my hotel room resting up, getting ready for the next day. And it was a really, really fun trip, and I hope that everyone likes it so we could do it again, because there's a lot more cities than 8 in America.
Yeah. What cities do you stop at on this 8-part series?
All right. Denver, San Francisco, Portland, Austin, Texas, Valley of Forge, Savannah, Georgia, Winston-Salem, and we went to North Carolina. I think that was Winston-Salem. Yeah. I'm confused. I'm missing one. I'm trying to think. But it was a good time, yeah. My brain is not working as good as I needed to without the coffee this morning.
That's fine. Do you remember, because I'm in Georgia, do you remember what in Savannah, what was the item?
There was quite a few items. We had a really cool, are you familiar with the game Magic the Gathering at all?
I am, yeah.
So we had a Black Lotus come in. I think it was graded as 6.5, if I remember correctly. Several $100,000 card. I believe, over $100,000. Super, super cool. I love the pop culture stuff. I collect Pokemon. I actually just opened a box of a different Kickstarter game that came out right now. So that was really cool to me. It was right up my alley. Probably not quite the antique you're thinking I was going to mention, but I love the pop culture stuff. Yeah,
you're a video game guy too, right?
Yeah, video games, and I don't play video games much anymore, but I do collect a little bit, and I still am in the world. It's just really hard at 40 to play a video game and get my mom talked about by an 8-year-old.
Yeah, that's what I tell Brandon, because he's the youngest on the show at 23. I said I tried that Call of Duty, but there's only so many times I can be called the N-word by a 9-year-old in Japan.
Yeah, no, I like to play the Quest. I'm not the online player because It's just so hard with listening to those little kids talk crap to you. I bet this guy's good at it. I can see the smile on his face right now.
Brandon. So the video game thing, you know, I'm 47, so we kind of grew up in the pioneering days of video games, from Pong to ColecoVision to Intellivision to eventually Atari 2600 and games like Kaboom and stuff like that. And then it, graduated to the Nintendo world, and that just changed the game, that and Sega. But I've seen like some of these articles of these rare and valuable Atari 2600 games, to be exact. One being, which was my favorite game, and I remember the night my mother brought it home, was River Raid. And it, like, if you have it in the original, it's like a purplish box with white font. It's like thousands of dollars. I'm like, holy shit, I had that game. Now where is it? I threw it away, probably. It's gone.
Yeah, we had some really expensive video games come in over the last few seasons, like $1 million price tag type. I think like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, like, first edition Mario, stuff like that. We didn't make deals on, but I believe that Mike Tyson eventually sold for around $1 million after we didn't make a deal on it in the shop.
Why was it so expensive?
Because somebody thought it was. The things like that are set by auction market prices. Wow. And the scarcity, the rarity of it, the fact that a game like Mike Tyson's Punch Out probably almost always got opened. Yeah. What happens is like, a container might have been found, or someone might have had a video game shop that failed and they shut it down and they had a warehouse full of stuff and a few copies came up or something like that. So people, they just want to collect. And, when you have money and you're in the collectible world, you kind of just, you buy what you want. And if there's 20 people, 100 people that want it, that price is going to go up as long as those people have the money to pay for it.
I was a big Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformer, Smurf, believe it or not, collectible kind of guy when I was younger. And I was just reading a story the other day where someone found an old warehouse that used to be, I think they used to produce Kenner action figures. And they still had the Kenner action figures in their packaging ready for distribution. And like the shop, it just shut down and everybody left. Do you see that story?
I didn't see the story, but I imagine there's some valuable stuff in there. Kenner, that stuff holds good value.
Oh my God. They showed it. It was this giant warehouse. And it was like Walking Dead, like the zombie apocalypse happened, where everybody just vanished and everything was still left behind. I'm like, that's a dream come true, It
is, but the funny thing about that is, depending on what it is, if it's, say those action figures are some action figures that have sold for, thousands of dollars, and now there's, thousands of them on the market, that price of that action figure or those ones are going to tank, because now, the supply is much larger than the demand, to pay the top dollar.
So how did people get on this show? Was there a pitch before that people could sign up and request for you guys to come visit them?
Yeah, so we basically posted on the History Channel website and our own website, gspon.com, that we were going to be in your state on these days, and that if you wanted to come, you just had to basically fill out a form. And I believe as long as you fill out the form, you got accepted to come. And you just would bring your stuff in that day. And we set up a whole event, food trucks, games, tables, and people would wait to come see us or one of our people, and people would be mingling with each other. I would walk out there and there would be just tables of all different people talking about their items with each other. It was really cool, fun event.
Yeah, I got to get on the newsletter, the History Channel, because if you guys are back in Georgia, I just got like 17 bus tubs of things from my estranged mother's house. We just reconnected. And there are some...
Georgia was actually my favorite stop because Savannah... Wow, what a beautiful town. I mean, just the architecture, the trees, the people, the culture, the food. It was so amazing in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah, well, a lot different than
Vegas. The weather
was
perfect.
A lot different than Vegas.
We don't have culture out here. After 20 years, we tear it down and build it over.
Yeah, my best friend's got he's a DJ out there. He's got residency at like Hakkasan and Wet Republic and all that stuff, and just the lifestyle. I'm like, dude, you're almost 50. I don't think you can, There's only so many steroids you can take until it starts not looking cool anymore, man. You got to stop
Hey,
it.
that's Vegas is one of those towns. When you're in, you're in. It doesn't matter how old you are.
I guess, yeah, he's in. So, Chumlee, what are some other cool items on Pawn Stars Do America that you can brag about?
I believe Rick looked at a handwritten letter by George Washington.
Way cool.
I personally didn't see that, but he absolutely loved it. I think it's really cool. I wish I would have saw it, but I was so busy doing my own stuff. I didn't get a chance to see that. We looked at, I bought 4 baseball cards for $14,000 with the intentions of hopefully keeping them for myself. But Rick said, nope, those are going in the shop.
Which ones were they?
It was like an old tobacco or gum product. I can't exactly remember, but they were graded by Beckett, and they were all low grades. I believe one of them was a 6.5, and the rest were all 5 or lower. But it was a Babe Ruth, a Ty Cobbs, players like that. I can't remember all off the top of my head, but basically the Babe Ruth and the Ty Cobbs. And I think there was like a Willie Mays.
Really?
And I think like there's really good value to be made there, just depending on how the market goes. But cards like that, when they're that old, when they're found like that, they hold their value much better than the modern stuff that gets up in price really fast.
Yeah.
Because there's not very many of those cards around.
I was told that if you can get the actual athlete to sign, not the case, but the card itself, the value goes up. I always thought it was the opposite, but I was told differently.
So yeah, a lot of people do love signatures. And the thing with signatures though is it just depends. The value of which will increase will depend on the scarcity of the rate at which the person signs, you know? If you have something signed by someone who's no longer alive, someone that wasn't known for doing, show after show after show and just printing money with their signature, those signatures can really, really, really increase the value of the card. So it's pretty crazy. I know I'm big in the Pokemon world collectibles, and there's Pokemon cards that go for, maybe like $5,000 or $10,000. But if you get the artist to sign it, it goes up by like, 10, 20%. It's just insane.
Is it even more if it's addressed to you? I also heard that if it's addressed to the person.
It's even less.
Oh, it's less money.
I mean, if your name is Mike, you're probably going to have a good shot at selling it to another Mike. If your name is Chumlee, good luck. So people don't really want to buy personalized autographs to someone else. If it matches their name, then that's kind of cool. But it's it's just a much smaller audience that you could sell that to when it's personalized. So yeah, you don't want to personalize your autographs unless it's something that you just want to keep. But if you're predicting it to be worth money in the future, you definitely don't want a personalized name. Maybe like a little personalized note. Hey, cool, I had a good day or something. It's nice, just like something on there, but definitely not a name.
I've always, I'm a huge fan of the story. It's always about the story and people that have the story of had no idea. And then, you're watching Pawn Stars, or probably even with Pawn Stars Do America, they're like, bought it at a yard sale, found the Declaration of Independence in the back of this painting. Love those stories. What's one of your favorite stories with either Pawn Stars or this new show that somebody has that they found it at a yard sale, they inherited it something, they're at an estate sale, and it ends up being ridiculously, expensive?
I mean, the yard sales are always the best. I can't remember a particular item, but a lot of the times these like pristine toys, people will say that they find them at a yard sale or an estate sale, and that's just crazy because they'll usually pick them up for $5 or $10, and then they'll bring in for like, I think we had like a like He-Man toys or something like that, or we had this Batman cape at one point. People buy these things for $20 at a yard sale and then bring them in and they're worth $1,000, and they're just like, woo, ecstatic. And that kind of makes me happy for them too. It also makes me happy knowing you bought something for $20 and I can get it for a good deal.
Does the majority of people that are on Pawn Stars that get cash for whatever they is, do they just blow it at the casino?
I wouldn't know. That's I don't pay attention to what they do with their money afterwards, but I would imagine a good portion of them spend it on home repairs and vacations and stuff like that. But it is a pawn shop, and a lot of the people that come in there aren't on TV, and we get many people that aren't on TV that probably go right to the casinos.
Yeah, well, it's not close to the Strip, if memory serves. I mean, it's not.
Well, it's technically on the Strip, but it's close to downtown. It's at the back end of Charleston. Like, it's basically in between the Strip and Charleston, but it is on Las Vegas Boulevard, which is still considered the Strip. It's kind of in between the casinos. It's like a mile away from the Strip.
Yeah, I know. I took a cab a couple times.
You definitely want to cab it, yes.
Yeah, I took a cab there, and there's, I think, like a gambler's warehouse, like across the street, or it used to be. And you get your Copac cards and all that good stuff.
Yeah, a couple blocks back, right? Basically, a couple blocks right at the same line as us. That's where I get my poker cards.
Yeah, so I was real excited. One of the times I went in, and it was like right at the. I mean, I know the show's always done well and will continuously do well, but this was at like the peak when you started to get the everybody audience. And I remember I roll in there, and a listener of mine gave me a gold bar prop from the Die Hard movie. And I thought I had it. I was going to be on Pawn Stars. I was going to get a lot of money. And I walk in, not even thinking. I mean, I should know better. Like, you guys aren't in there. So I talked to some kid. And the kid, he's like, leave me your number. We'll get back to you if we want it. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And I never heard back. So I go back, and everybody's like, they don't want that shit, man. There's hundreds of these gold bars in the movie. Why would they want yours? Like,
I mean, it is the greatest Christmas movie ever.
Well, this was, I think, the second one. This was the one with Simon Says. So I think this wasn't even the first one. It was the second one or the third one. I'm not even quite sure.
Well, maybe we'll get you on the next season. That does sound like something interesting, and we do have some Hollywood experts now.
Well, I don't have that anymore, but I got, like I was telling you before, the stuff from my mom. Like, I've got stuff from the 1800s, like these old bottles and this painting. I mean, and I have no idea the value. So that's why I was asking how people can get in on this. Because I'll drive down to Savannah and bring all my stuff with me, and I'll just hang out and wait for you guys. That'd be cool. Nate, do you have a question for Chumlee, please?
Yeah, you guys kind of touched on signatures and stuff, but I have a book that was signed by Bill Gates and sent to me. Is it going to be worth more if I hang on to it till after he dies, or does that matter?
I would imagine Bill Gates doesn't sign tons and tons of stuff because he's a busy man. So definitely, it's sad to say, but you want to sell it the week he dies.
Okay,
that's
in the news.
Hopefully he doesn't die. Hopefully Bill Gates lives a lot longer. Maybe maybe if he's lucky, he'll outlive a lot of us with science and technology and all that money. But when someone dies, that's the week to sell all their memorabilia.
Really?
Because that's when they're in the spotlight. That's when people are remembering all the memories they had of that person, and that's usually when top dollar will be taken for something, unless something crazy happens in the Bill Gates, market. But yeah, when someone like that passes away, you want to sell it immediately if you're looking to cash out on the signature.
I'm putting it in my calendar, Nate. I'm going to help you out.
Remind me.
I'm going to remind myself every day to remind you the day when he passes. Chumlee,
Just your reminders.
Yeah, just a bunch of reminders. You're big in the music. You're a punk rock guy. You're a rock guy. Some of the cool stuff that I've seen come through Pawn Stars, being a product of the 90s music, especially grunge, like the Kurt Cobain, the Nirvana stuff that comes in and whatnot. What, for your taste, as far as that type of music stuff that's come through that you've either, taken home with you or wanted to take home with you?
So actually on this road show in Portland, where Nirvana, Kurt Cobain is from, right around that area, it was really cool. His photographer came in and was, trying to sell us some pictures that she had taken of Kurt, like stuff you really don't see. And I mean, I grew up Nirvana, Kurt, that was my guy, that was my band, that was my time. So actually that was like some of the coolest stuff for me, to see pictures taken of Kurt Cobain by, someone that was pretty much a friend of his. And the way she's explained it, they were friends, and she was a friend of Courtney's, and that's how she got the gig to be, to basically take pictures of Kurt Cobain. I don't think she was ever his official photographer, but when they first started out, they were just a small garage kind of band, and she was around taking all those early photos of, just moments we had never seen.
And then if you've seen, any of the documentaries, but we just had the documentarian on for the, his name escapes me, but he just did the Bowie documentary, and he did, I think it was Kurt and Courtney, or no, he did, what was the one he did on them? It was, anyway, he did the one really good where Courtney Love was involved, and and it wasn't necessarily about controversy or conspiracy or anything like that, but he had such great old footage of when Nirvana started and Kurt started and crashing at his girlfriend's house and doing this. But even to have something that he threw away, that you grabbed, that you just happened to keep, or a card or a lyric or that sketchbook that when he was going through different names for the band, like Skid Row, like how did you not know Skid Row wasn't taken? That to me would be priceless. That'd be the best.
Yeah, we had a really cool Kurt Cobain, Courtney Love thing come in one time. I really wanted to get it, but the guy wanted too much. It was like I don't know if we actually filmed with it, but it was a wedding certificate. It was a wedding certificate signed by Kurt Cobain and Courtney, and it's when the hurricane came through Hawaii, so they were never able to get married in Kauai, and they ended up going over to Oahu to get married. And that's something we were looking at. I was going back and forth with someone online, now that I remember correctly, and I was trying to get him to bring it in, and I was trying to work it all out, but them being in Hawaii, it kind of never panned out. But I still have their contact, and hopefully that's something we can do in the future, because that's really, really cool.
How much?
And we had Kurt Cobain's car insurance come through the store too.
That's cool. How much was that? How much is that going for?
I forget the price, but I didn't make a deal on it.
I've got a brick from his house if you want it. It's cheap. It's way cheap.
I don't have to call in an expert on that one.
Oh, it's from his house. I got pictures of my friend taking it. So
that's really cool.
It is without a doubt. So this for Pawn Stars Do America also. I was reading you have a 17th century stay of execution, right? Is that part of the show? I mean, like somebody had that?
You got me there. I don't know. It sounds right, but we're really busy there, so I don't know everything that comes in, because I'm at a table doing my own table, and Rick's at his own table, and Corey's at his own table. So I don't know that I can recall that.
Well, when you're watching the show and it happens, because it's in my notes, you're going to always remember us, because we're the ones that told you about it.
Except I don't watch the show.
Oh, there you go. You don't watch your own show? Why not?
Oh, I see enough of Rick all day. You think I want more Rick and Corey in my life?
Nikki D.
I might watch a couple highlights on, the internet, but I don't ever put myself through a whole show very often.
You got to see how history chops it up to make you sound goofy and be the comedic relief.
I do watch a little bit of the rough cuts here and there to check that stuff out. But the funny thing is, I do watch the show from time to time when I'm, stuck up in a hotel room for a week. But I couldn't bring myself to watch it on this road trip because I was with Rick and Corey all day, so I didn't want to go home to them either.
Well, Pawn Stars is to History Channel as Impractical Jokers is to True TV, as Law & Order SVU is to USA Network. There's a marathon. Like, you can't go a day without turning on, scrolling through your guide, and seeing Pawn Stars somewhere, And then you got the streaming aspect of it.
I think that's a good part of our success, is that the way it's made is it's great for marathon TV, because you don't have to know what's going on in the episode before to pick up in this episode. You can literally pick a season. You can pick an episode of Pawn Stars, and you can start from there and not be lost at all.
Do you remember when, because you weren't as big of a part of the show as you are now, as you were at the very, very beginning. And at the very, very beginning, it was more just based off of the items versus character building, until somebody said, no, we've got great stories to tell here. Do you remember when that kind of took place and they approached you and said, we need you to fill this role? Because it's all about characters for these types of shows.
Yeah, so no one ever needed me to fill a role. I decided to watch a little bit of reality TV and see what they were missing. And I saw, from what I thought I saw they were missing, was someone that they could,
punch a bag.
Kind of pick at. A punching bag, yeah, exactly. And so, I decided to just be true to my normal character and maybe exaggerate some of my character flaws and let them pick on me without getting upset about it.
Right. And
I think it worked out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the formula for a radio morning show. It's the old Dick, Darling, Deer. So you've got to have those three elements, and then it kind of makes up for it. Nikki D, question for Chumlee.
I heard you say that you wanted to purchase some cards, and then you were told that it had to go in your shop. So how do you differentiate from your own personal collecting versus what has to go in your shop?
So a lot of the time when we buy stuff, Rick doesn't care. If we want to, put something in our own collection, he's pretty cool about it for the most part. But, he believed that there is a lot of money to be made in these cards. And at the end of the day, Rick does take care of me. He is, my boss, and I'm out on the road working for him. So what he says goes. If I buy something, so if these cards sit in the pawn shop for 6 months, then he'll sell them to me for sure. But if he can put them out there and turn a profit on them pretty quick, then he'll do that. I think the biggest factor is that these are big name cards and they're going to draw attention for the shop. He's going to be able to post these online and people are going to want to take a look at them. So possibly come down to the shop to take a look at them. So Rick does that a lot. That's why he buys things like Super Bowl rings and stuff like that. Even before the show was on, he was buying Super Bowl rings. And then once a year, when the Super Bowl was going to happen, he'd do a press release about how he had a Super Bowl ring, and he would get tons of media coverage for it. So Rick is always trying to drum up little spicy ideas to get, media coverage.
I think people kind of poke fun at the formula for Pawn Stars, where it's like, okay, I'm not sure. Let me call in my friend. And it's always your friend. And everybody wants to know, are they really your friends?
So a lot of them are friends. A lot of them are people that we've been working with for a long time. A lot of these people, they sell stuff in the department in which they are experts for us at. So they're just knowledgeable people that have bought with us and sold to us for years that we know and we trust their opinion on items.
My favorite guy is the older gentleman with the big, awesome gray beard that all the Revolutionary War, Civil War stuff. He's my favorite.
That's everyone's favorite. We call him the Beard of Knowledge,
Yeah.
Mark Patton, MHP. He
Yeah.
has many names, but the greatest thing about him, he's been around since season 1. He's the only expert that has never given a price and will never.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, he's never given a price. Now, when you see him next time, you realize you'll be like, wow, I didn't even ever catch that. He never gives a price.
I've never known that. And like I said, I've been a fan since day one. It was funny because a buddy of mine is a professional wrestler and he had just joined a new promotion after leaving WWE out of Orlando. And the promotion at the time it was called TNA, but now it's I think called Impact Wrestling. And they were new to the television deal. And I remember him saying to me going, yeah, our only competition is this fucking show that's like at a pawn shop. Like, why are people watching this? And I said, I gotta tell you, dude. I was like, I love you to death, but I'm addicted to that show.
That's funny because our competition is usually wrestling and Monday Night Football, but they change our days around a lot. Are you a fan of wrestling at all?
Oh, so here's the thing. I'm a fan of wrestling. But being in the radio business for as long as I've been in it and befriending a lot of these guys and working with them, I've kind of become jaded. I'm a fan of wrestling from the entertainment standpoint, as it's the only medium that can mind fuck you in person and on television. Well,
here's a little spoiler for you.
Yeah.
Coming up soon in maybe the next season of Pawn Stars. If it hasn't aired already, I don't think it has. I take a bump from the legend Booker T himself.
Really? Why?
Yeah, we had some Booker T boots we needed to get authenticated, so we went out to him out in, I believe, Houston, right outside of Houston.
Texas, yeah.
And he authenticated him and basically offered to give me a little wrestling lesson because he has his wrestling school.
Yeah.
And I took a bump from Booker T. It was pretty cool.
Wow. So you're a wrestling fan as well?
I grew up a wrestling fan, and I do like wrestling. I don't watch it much anymore, but my best friend is a huge wrestling fan, and I'm always listening to the podcast with him. So I listen to a lot of the wrestling podcasts.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
My favorite wrestler? Geez, it's got to be Stone Cold, but since everyone says I look like Bray Wyatt, I might have to say him.
Who's your favorite tag team of all time?
The Nasty Boys.
The Nasty Boys, the
Right in
armpit.
there.
That's awesome. Brandon, question for Chumlee.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about maybe doing a Pawn Stars like world tour, like going to different countries and stuff?
I thought about it, but I don't know if the History Channel has. We would love to do that. There's a lot of logistics involved. I think we would need to do this show inside the States a couple more times and kind of really dial it down. There's a lot behind the scenes on making this show happen that it would be a tough tour, but I would definitely be interested in it. 4 months in maybe somewhere like Europe seems like it would make sense. You know, a lot of small countries, and so much history out there. We've talked about it for sure, and it would be really cool because we would see so much different kind of stuff. But it would be hard. We'd probably have to find some new experts to trust and things like that.
Well, here's your next. I love pitching my ideas when they're not asked, but here's your next idea. And I'm going to go on the record. You can take it. Just make it come to fruition. I'm not asking for much, right? So here's the deal. It's Pawn Stars, but here's the version of Pawn Stars is you find people that were, and this is a feel-good show, you find people that were in a tough spot and had to pawn something of interest. There's a good story behind it. You guys go in as the experts and buy it back or trade to get it back. And then the big kicker at the end is when they go to pay you, you say, don't worry about it, blah, 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 and it's a feel-good. Boom.
You know, that could work, but then the spoiler, everyone knows we're not going to pay. Everyone knows we're going to pay for it.
Well, every once in a while, you'd be like, you're kind of a dick through this process. You owe us some money.
I can see it working. That would be good. Maybe we could do a special like that, you know?
Yeah, do a Christmas special, or something. I mean, even some of the people that come in, historically, pawn shops were for people in tight spots that needed quick and fast money, before the ease of loans and stuff like that. So you guys highlight all of the cool stories because that's good television, but there are people out there in a tough spot that are pawning things that mean a lot to them. You guys are the king of Pawn Stars. So you guys just go in and you write the ship for these people. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, no, we get it a lot, and we actually work with our customers a lot who pawn things and they're in a hard time because, the pawn ticket only lasts for 120 days, but we have some people that have been coming in for years and years and years, and sometimes they get in a hard time. I've seen Rick take something off pawn and put it in the safe for 6 months, because that person said, hey, I'm having a tough time. Could you just hold it for me for 6 months and I'll come back and get it? And Rick's like, yeah, no problem.
Wow.
Not everyone you can do that for. It is still a business, but Rick has definitely done some stuff like that in the past.
I believe you. He seems like just that kind of guy. Just that kind of guy. All right, before we let Chumlee go, anybody got any questions for him? No? Nikki, Nate, Brandon? Let him go do his thing? Okay, cool. History Channel, Pawn Stars Do America, Wednesday nights. It's 8 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you're watching it. We love you. We love the shows. And hopefully have you back on sooner than later.
Do I get to hear Brandon's voice one time before I leave?
I don't know. Brandon?
Hello. Well, I asked you about the touring, but I guess I asked.
That's right. All right.
That's how important of a question it was. He forgot that you even talked.
He's just been so quiet and cute sitting over there thinking about his video games.
Oh, he's thinking about all kinds of weird shit that goes to that kid's mind. He just recently got into He's just recently got into trouble because he degrades the women that listen to the show too. So.
They just misunderstood me.
Yeah. All right, Chumlee, thanks for the time, brother man. Best of luck with the show. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you.
All right, see you, buddy. Bye-bye.